Good morning, everybody. Welcome. I'm hoping that a few more people move in. I hope you've had a great first day. I'm not going to be the person that will really energize you. That's not my thing, but welcome to today. First thing I want to say is a few of the presentations today will have videos embedded in them. They will have the whole English scrolling across. But there will be translations happening, so if you do need to have that translated, at the back of the room is the headsets that you can plug in, channel 2, and you'll be able to get the translation of the videos as we go along today. Okay, good. So first of all, welcome. I hope you're going to find today's session informative. And I'm going to start with a fact that's going to start you all Googling. So there are more people with a disability of working age that are unemployed in the world than there are living in the entire United States of America. Think about that. Think about the opportunity that that presents to businesses, the talent that is out there that they are missing out on. It's a staggering fact to me that actually, if you Google it, and although I class myself as a bit of a maths genius, I didn't want to push myself. There is actually more unemployed people, according to the World Health Organization, than the third and fourth largest countries in the world combined. That's the United States and Indonesia, combine their total population, and that is where we're at when we come to the amount of disabled people. I don't see my slide deck in front of me. Do you have my slides? Sorry. Okay, so today's session, and that leads nicely into today's session around disabled people's organizations driving company strategies, how they're helping, supporting businesses to drive their entire strategy when it comes to looking at total talent and supporting that total talent. So we have a really fantastic panel from across the globe today that you're going to hear from. So you're going to hear from Marisabel from Costa Rica. You're going to hear from Ameesha from India, Andrea from Germany, and finally, but not least, Ramez from Egypt. Really, really good panel. They're going to talk for about 8 minutes each. And then at the end of all of that, over to you. Any questions that come from you would be great to hear if you have any for the panel. So it is interactive. Please do get ready to think about questions. So first of all, who am I? My name is Lee Corless, and I am here representing BASE, which is the British Association for Supported Employment. It's a charity in the UK, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. But I'm one of the trustees. I'm one of the National Executive Committee, and I've been supporting them now for 2-3 years on their board, and I'll talk a little bit more about the work there. My day job as well, I have a day job, so I work for an organization that is for want of a better word, recruitment agency, but we specialize in supporting and placing people with disabilities, neurodivergent conditions, and my job there is to help the company grow, and I'm head of HR. So don't hold that against me, that I am a HR individual. I am also diagnosed formally on the spectrum. I'm dyslexic, I have an autistic son, and I have been globally speaking on the subject of neurodiversity, recruitment and retention for about 10 or 12 years. So yes, I started when I was a teenager, so thank you. We're not going to talk about age again. So, who is BASE? Before I go into detail about BASE, I want to introduce you to a very inspirational lady. She's probably going to run out the room now. And that is Laura Davis, who is our CEO. Laura came and took over BASE in 2022, and she's taken that member organization on our membership base of all the people that supported employment in the UK. She's taken that from around 130, 140, I believe. I've got my glasses on so I can't see that far. Members, we are now 340, 350. So she's really growing that. She has worked in this sector for over 20 years. And if you do meet her, I'm not going to make the same mistake that somebody made yesterday of calling out Jenny's age. She doesn't look like she's been in this sector for 20 years. She works tirelessly across policy, research, and has put supported employment model on the radar of so many UK companies, really bridging that gap between the supported employment providers and actually UK business. And that has been, for me, I'm on the corporate side, my day job, that has always been the missing factor when you think about how do you engage corporate, you make it easy for them, and Laura is doing that. So please, if you do want to spend some time, make some time to stop Laura, talk to her. She is very obliging and can talk longer than I can, so prepare to have a good long conversation with her. BASE itself, so its mission is to create an embedded culture of employment for all by removing barriers, raising aspirations, beliefs, and opportunities. Now that is quite a bold mission, I think, and we do that by driving quality in the sector and focusing funding models of support that we do know works. Tried and tested, it works. Supported employment as a model works. I can tell you that because before I ever met BASE in the corporate sector, I built a autism at work program for one of the world's largest companies, and unbeknownst to me, guess what I built? The supported employment model. So this is a tried and tested model of support that works. We do back that with a very clear vision that every disabled, neurodivergent and disadvantaged person across the UK has access to support to be able to access good quality careers. So the supported employment model, and a number of us up here will talk about this today. It's a five-stage model for those of you who have not seen it before. It starts with engagement. Involves going out into the communities and really starting to get to know people, starting to raise ambition, aspirations, so that everybody who wants to work gets the opportunity to do so. We then go into what we call vocational profiling. Get to know everything about that individual, their strengths, their talents, and their aspirations for work and career. Then we engage with the employer, proactively working with them to understand what are their needs, what are their aims, what is their goal, learning more about the jobs that they offer and how we can work with them to fill those jobs. Which then takes us into the job matching. So you take that vocational profile of the individual, you take the job analysis that you've done, and you match them. You're helping that individual find the role that is perfect for them. And then you embed it by offering good quality support to the individual, to the company, to the manager, to the HR, to whoever needs it to make that role successful and that person to be sustained and stay in employment. You wrap that all with a good, really strong quality assurance framework that ensures consistency of approach, and the outcome that you have is the base for a successful program, and pardon the pun when I use the word base in the middle of that. So if you want to know more about BASE, there's a couple of, there's a QR code up there. I made it easy for you to zap on and you can get access to our webpage. If you want to know more about me, there's a QR code up there as well, takes you to the links about me and my ramblings on LinkedIn of where I talk about my day and my thoughts, etc. But I want to leave you with this before I move on to our first speaker. If we move the dial on unemployment for disabled people by just 1%, bearing the facts that I gave you at the beginning, that means 7 million disabled people will find employment. Just 1%. Think about that. That is not, when you think about how you want to challenge yourself and how you want to improve, nobody says I want to improve myself by just 1%. That's the scale of the opportunity, but it's also the scale of the challenge. And that's why you're all here, to learn and really want to do more. So let's work together. Let's really push and move that dial beyond the 1%. Let's aim for 10 million, 20 million people across the globe finding meaningful employment. Okay, enough from me. Let me move you on, first of all, now to our speakers that are the ones that you're really here to hear from today. And I'm not going to do much of an introduction because I think we all do it ourselves better. So our first speaker, Ameesha.
Thanks, Lee. Thanks for setting the tone, and I'll quickly speak about my project. I'm from India. My name is Ameesha Prabhu. I'm of an average height, born and brought up in India, have curly hair, wearing white shirt and black trousers. I'm very, very excited to meet all of you here because all of us are talking the same language, which is about inclusion. Thanks, Lee, for setting the tone. Livelihoods or supported employment is what we do at TRRAIN, which is Trust for Retailers and Retail Associates of India. India has officially 26 million people with disability. And if I have to ask all of you, if you can guess the number of people who are unemployed, it's staggering. We have 64% of India's population, which is currently not employed. And this is on a base of 26.5 million. Actual numbers are at somewhere around 70 million people, because this is the census data, which is from 2011. The reason I mention this is hidden disabilities and mindsets, which happens in probably every country, but in a developing country like India, where it is a taboo to talk about disability, where ignorance and awareness and education is absolutely low when it comes to people with disability, when it comes to handling persons with disability and educating persons with disability. We don't have integrated inclusive classrooms. We don't have probably access to proper primary and secondary schools. It is improving. I won't say that everything is bleak and dark, but it is taking its own sweet time. What is it that we do and why are we here? At TRRAIN, our purpose is to build an equitable and inclusive community. It is our purpose where we work with 4 pillars: pride, respect, inclusion, and development. We started with retail, and supported employment, which Lee just spoke about, is where we started with market creation. We went to a lot of recruiters in retail and asked them what is it that they would like to do in order to create a very diverse and inclusive retail ecosystem. That is where we mapped all the jobs that existed in the retail landscape and started work with 2 disabilities: speech and hearing impairment youth and people with locomotor disabilities. We have a very unique model. The reason I say it's unique is because we have an asset-light model. India is a huge country. If I have to just show you when we come to the next slide, it actually is 28, 29 states which are probably reflecting a size of a small country. And each parameter, every country, every 100 kilometers changes in terms of the way people are, the religion, their focus. The development that has happened in India would probably be in metro and not in mini metros or small villages. So it is unique in that sense, and that is why we tied up with the local not-for-profit partners. The reason is the outreach and mobilization of our youth to fit into the screening criteria that our recruiters require, which is 18 years to 30 years of age, and the access to that database lies with the local not-for-profits. We also have local not-for-profits working with us very closely because the trust element that a youth has is not with me, but with the local person who the parents will trust to say that let he or she go through the skilling program that is required to go to the next level, which is to give them their first job. And the first job is very low on entry barriers. In retail landscape, a 10th grade or a 12th grade student can also start working in a retail landscape, and that is one of their first jobs that they take up. We also do a lot of sensitization and awareness. If you look at supporting and hand-holding to employers, it starts with advocacy, it starts with awareness, it starts with an intent to create a diverse and a unique, inclusive workforce, not excluding anybody. So that is where we start with the sensitization workshops. We also ensure that the job is mapped and the skills which are relevant to that job are imparted in a 45-day training program. Our impact, we've trained in the last 12 years 38,000 persons with disability and have given gainful employment to 70% of them. Most of our students who don't take up employments are because they move on for higher studies or they find some local employment wherein they don't want to move to big cities. This is where our centers are, 70 active centers for persons with disability, 50% of which is speech and hearing impaired youth. And then we also have slow learners and low vision individuals. These are some of our trainees in the job, Shell petrol pump, cafes, McDonald's, KFC, all your large and small retailers, quick service restaurants, as well as local shops. If you look at the picture down, which is the blue color, people in their uniform, it is an alumni event in Calcutta. This year itself, we would be training more than 8,500 persons with disability and giving them jobs in retail, warehouses, e-commerce, quick service restaurants, and data centers and back-end jobs. Just like to play this film.
मेरा नाम अनुजा मटकर है। मैं बचपन से ही मुकबधिर हूँ, पर मैंने साइन लैंग्वेज सीखकर इस चुनौती पर विजय प्राप्त की। पढ़ाई खत्म होने पर जॉब मिलने का एक नया चैलेंज मेरे सामने आया। तब मैंने ट्रेन पंख के बारे में सुना। मैंने वहाँ 45 दिनों में कस्टमर सर्विस, सॉफ्ट स्किल्स और डेटा एंट्री के कोर्सेज किए और अब मेरे पास मेरी पसंदीदा जॉब है। ट्रेन पंख से शिक्षित युवाओं को अपने ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस में नौकरी प्राप्त कराएं और हमें सक्षम बनाने में सहायक बने।
This is actually a student called Anuja, and today she's gainfully employed in a retail store. Our dream, our dream and our aim, I'd like to come back here in 2032 and talk about how we've impacted 1 million persons with disability and young women from marginalized backgrounds, especially in India. And this is where our entire effort for the next 3 years is to build capability and capacity so that we can achieve this dream of ours. I just like to end, it's my last 20 seconds. We have a very famous poet as well as a philosopher, Rabindranath Tagore, who says the problem is not how to wipe out the differences, but how to unite with the differences intact. Thank you so very much for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Ameesha. Let's, in the interest of time, keep moving along. So our second speaker from Costa Rica, I'd like to introduce Marisabel Gonzalez.
Well, hello, good morning, everyone. I'm Marisabel Gonzalez. I'm from Costa Rica. When I graduated from college, I studied special education and thought I was gonna spend my whole career life in the schools. But well, then I got married and my second child was born with Down syndrome. And then I switched from being a teacher to being a parent. And my husband and I saw a lot of things around disability and how people look at people with Down syndrome. So we decided to make a campaign to break a little bit of the myths around Down syndrome. And we got to meet a lot of adults with Down syndrome. And they had a lot of potential, a lot to give, but no job opportunities. So that was when we decided to make our I Can Work program through the Fundación Yo Puedo y Vos. Okay. So our mission and purpose is to create employment opportunities for individuals with disabilities. We started the foundation for people with Down syndrome, but of course, this is something we cannot be exclusive about, so now we work with people with all types of disabilities. And we serve as a bridge between job seekers and companies committed to inclusion. Our impact and work strategy. We raise awareness among companies and employees, support job seekers in the hiring process, and provide follow-up to ensure job retention and career growth. It is very important to remember that part of the success is the follow-up in order to ensure, because it's not just putting them in a job and the company with whatever we gave them at the beginning will be all right. The follow-up is very important. We have engaged with over 100 inclusive companies in Costa Rica. We have adapted 5,000 job positions for people with disabilities and have trained 1.5 million non-disabled individuals in human rights. Right, as of now, we began in Costa Rica, but we have extended in Central America. We have worked with companies that have extended their work throughout Central America. So now, right now, these numbers I gave you are just for Costa Rica, but we are working in Central America right now.
Hola, bienvenidos a un espacio donde la inclusión es una realidad. Hoy les hablamos de Costa Rica, un país centroamericano que a pesar de sus avances en sostenibilidad y bienestar social, enfrenta un importante reto, la inclusión laboral de personas con discapacidad, debido a las diferentes barreras cimentadas en prejuicios y estereotipos, siendo una de las más importantes la actitud adversa de las personas generada por la desinformación y la falta de toma de conciencia sobre los derechos de las personas con discapacidad. Esta nación, con 5.327.387 habitantes, de los cuales el 17.2 son personas adultas con alguna discapacidad, lo que equivale a aproximadamente 676.310 personas. De este grupo, el 57.9 son mujeres y el 42.1 son hombres. Aunque es un dato alentador que el 40.7 de estas personas están empleadas, eso también significa que el 55.8 de ellos se encuentran fuera de la fuerza del trabajo.
Aquí es donde la Fundación Yo Puedo y Vos ofrece un aporte fundamental. Esta organización trabaja tenazmente para promover la inclusión laboral de las personas con situación de discapacidad en el contexto costarricense y centroamericano. Su misión es empoderar a estas personas mediante la capacitación y toma de conciencia de los colaboradores de las diferentes empresas sobre el valor y las capacidades que aportan los trabajadores con discapacidad, favoreciendo la eliminación de las barreras que obstaculizan su plena inserción laboral. Y esto les permite no solo obtener un trabajo, sino crecer y promoverse en este.
Yo Puedo y Vos ha implementado acciones que han cambiado vidas con capacitaciones, talleres, con la campaña Diferentes pero Iguales y ferias de empleo, donde los talentos de las personas son valorados en sus propios términos. Los beneficiarios dicen, yo puedo trabajar.
La inclusión laboral no solo mejora la calidad de vida de las personas con discapacidad, sino que también enriquece a las empresas con diversas perspectivas y habilidades.
Invitamos a todos, desde pequeñas empresas hasta grandes corporaciones, a unirse a esta iniciativa. Juntos podemos construir un futuro en Costa Rica y Centroamérica donde todas las personas tengan la oportunidad de contribuir y brillar.
A mi trabajo me da felicidad, me siento realizado, puedo cumplir mis sueños como viajar. Además, en el trabajo tengo amigos, puedo aportar dinero a mi casa y eso hace a mi familia sentirse orgulloso de mí.
yo puedo, y vos, porque la inclusión laboral es posible, porque somos diferentes, pero no somos iguales, pura vida.
So our Art and Work program has the objective to facilitate the labor inclusion of people with disabilities through strategic partnerships with companies. We need to make training sessions with managers and business owners, which is essential for raising awareness among leadership about labor inclusion. There needs to be a job analysis and accessibility through assessments of the job requirements and in the infrastructure evaluation, accessibility assessment, and review all accessible digital content. There needs to be an evaluation, interview, and workplace adjustments. For this, the assessment and interviews with the people with disabilities are very important to determine their job suitability and their aspirations as well, and the implementation of reasonable workplace adjustments based on individual needs. There needs to be an awareness through training for the staff, training non-disabled employees on inclusion, empathy, teamwork, and creating a workplace culture that promotes inclusion for all. There needs to be supported employment and follow-up, so the tailored workplace supports to meet individual needs, the significance of ongoing follow-up to ensure job retention and satisfaction, and collaborative efforts between the foundation and employees to address future needs and make necessary adjustments. These are some of the companies that have worked with us, and you can follow us in Instagram, Facebook, and write to us to this email. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marisabel. Keep swiftly moving along, and we're now going to come back into Europe and to Germany, and I'd like to introduce Andrea Seeger.
Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. My name is Andrea Seeger, and for such of you who are blind, I'm a white woman. I'm 58 years old, blonde, and I wear glasses. I'm not a native speaker, I have to say. I want to apologize for my not so good English, so I hope you have understanding. First of all, I will tell you the story of access. We are coming from the self-determined living movement, started in 1998. These were people with physical disabilities and parents, like Marisabel, who have children with disabilities. And we are one of the pioneers of supported employment in Germany. Why pioneers? Because we created a measure, it's called supported employment, and it works in whole Germany since 2009. And we are the provider of the total supported employment process, like Lee showed you before. In our organization, nowadays, there are working 70 people with and without handicaps or disabilities. We work together, and 30% of our colleagues have a disability. Nowadays, we have permanent 350 customers in our organization, and we are looking for jobs in the real labor market for them. And we have a network of around 1,500 companies in the region we are working. And in our rehabilitation measures, the supported employment measures, we have a high integration rate. It depends on the year. It's between 60 and 70%. And to reach the aim of getting a job in the labor market, we need a network, of course. These are our network partners, above all, of course, the people with disabilities, and if they are young, also the families of these peoples. Our target group have cognitive disabilities, learning disabilities, physical disabilities, and mental disabilities, and they have a high need of support to get into a working job. We work together with schools, especially schools for pupils with learning disabilities. We also work with sheltered workshops to make the transition from sheltered workshop to the labor market possible. And we work together, of course, with employers, as I told you, and different funding providers like the agency, the working agency, the inclusive agency, the Ministry of Work and Social Affairs, for example, and to fund our organization, it's not so hard. We are not a rich company. We work together with foundations like Aktion Mensch. In Germany, this is a very famous foundation. And also we work with professional audience because we offer trainings for job coaches and we make in-house trainings for sheltered workshops, how to go outside of the sheltered workshop. Our activities to win employers, it's a hard work, I have to say, but it's a challenge and it's possible. Most of our work is the individual case acquisition because we do that all day. Every day from the beginning to the end, we take the phone and make warm and cold acquisition for vocational trainings for our customers. And we make workshops for the companies, like you told. I don't have to go deeper because you told it in a good way. We have events for employers. We are always telling best practice and storytelling. And every 2 years, for example, we have an event and we have an award. It's called Penguin Award. It's for a very for employers who have a very good engagement. And this is really new. We built up a corporate network in our region, and there are enterprises like Siemens Healthcare, Datev, Puma, and others, and we want to make this corporate network much bigger. I don't want to go deeper in this job because Lee told about these stages, but this is our, I think this is a success factor that we can offer all stages of supported employment model, and this makes us successful. Our success factors, now you have to listen because we have a really good how do you say it, key between customer and job coaches. One job coach is responsible for 5 participants to achieve a job. This is a very good relation, but we need this because our customers have high needs of support. We have best educated staff, we have a lot of in-house trainings, we offer external trainings as well, but our own job coaches are trained very well. And this is another success factor, the non-binding company trials, because we work with the method of place and train, so there are long-lasting trainings with job coaches in the enterprises, and our job coaches go minimum the first 2 days into the company to be a mentor between both sides and train the people. And every week there is a minimum 1 contact in the companies to have a look, is everything okay for everyone? And in Germany there are a lot of possibilities of subsidize for companies to compensate costs to support the working contract. So we know about these regulations and we can counsel the enterprise. And as you told, ongoing process is necessary and we can offer this. And of course we create new jobs for the customers we support, because the job must fit to the people and not the people to the job, because often it's not so easy to find a job they can do it, because they need a lot of routines. So we have on the one side the individual skills, and on the other side, of course, the workplace requirements, and we are always looking, where is the match? How can we create the match? And the workplace that fits means takes into account the abilities and skills of a person with disability and the needs of the company, is often a new, additional workplace, which can also include parts of a regular workplace and thus relieves the workload of skilled workers. Often bundles work from different fields and activities. We think in terms of activities, not professions. Is the result of a systematic search by the job coach with all those are involved. And the last chart will show you some examples. You see success stories from transition from school to work. You see Vivian, she's a colored woman with learning disability, and she works nowadays in a bakery shop. You see Teresa with Down syndrome, a white woman. She works as an assistant in a hotel kitchen since 15 years. 15 years now the job lasts. And my last example is a person from transition from sheltered workshop to work. It's Manuel, and Manuel works as a wellness assistant in a retire home. And before that, he works 5 years in a sheltered workshop, and then he got support from us, and nowadays he is in a working contract. And here you have a QR code if you want to make contact, and I thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Andrea. And I met Andrea for the first time yesterday, and she was exceptionally nervous for today, and I think she did fantastically well. Like everybody up here has. It's very daunting in a room this size to speak to you all, so I really appreciate the panel for being here. Now, before I move to the final speaker, I remind you to you all, start thinking about questions. It is interactive. I would love questions, and if you have one and you raise your hand, you will need to be near to a microphone when we get to there. So, before we get there, over to our final speaker, I'd like to introduce you to, and again, the way I pronounce things, I'm dyslexic, so I can't even read my own handwriting, which is terrible. But I'd like to introduce Ramez Maher.
Thank you, Lee, and thank you all the panelists. You made it a lot harder for me to present now. Hello everyone, hello the Zero Project family. My name is Ramez Maher. I'm an Egyptian. I am 35 years old. This is actually the 4th time that I stand before you here as an awardee or a speaker or a moderator. But I must admit, like my heart is racing with excitement. Like I'm very happy to be here. And this moment is special, I think, not just for me personally, but for everyone who's here and attending and being here for the same reasons. And as I walked in yesterday, they handed me this ID badge featuring a very old picture of me from the many years ago that I came here. And it brought back a flood of memories, actually, from our journey. I started Helm. Helm is an Arabic word that translates to dream. When I was 22, I quit my job I was working for 2 years, but I quit my job with my partner, Ameesha, and we both decided to pursue Helm as a full-time thing and like to grow it. And we're very happy with this decision because it was a life-changing decision for us to quit our jobs and dedicate our lives to Helm. Our mission goes actually beyond like mere support or help. There's a lot of stigma in Egypt, and most of the organizations working in Egypt work from a charity perspective. They don't see the value that we've all been seeing throughout the presentations in the Zero Project. So it goes beyond mere support. It's more about empowerment, collaboration, and breaking down barriers together. Today we proudly operate actually in 5 countries, leading the charge on disability advocacy in Egypt and in the region as well. Our vision is to promote the full inclusion of persons with disabilities in all aspects of life. We provide like comprehensive solutions to empower both companies and governments to create a more inclusive environment for the 15%, which is around 15 million Egyptians with disabilities. We've worked on many national and projects developing disability centers, literally in every public university in Egypt. We contributed in changing the disability law back in 2018. We've teamed up with both public and private sectors across like various industries to enhance. Even we went into like the tourism sector, making culture like landmarks, like the Grand Egyptian Museum, one of the largest museums being opened in the world, actually being opened in July, to be more of an inclusive experience. However, today I'm actually here to speak about Helm Academy. This is one aspect of what we do, and this will be the focus of my presentation. And I'm thrilled like, to introduce Helm Academy as an award winner platform this year. It was initially developed as a response to COVID, but now it's breaking barriers more to employment through, it's the first accessible like e-learning platform that is in the Arabic language that serves people in the region, because it's very difficult to find e-learning content that is accessible and in our language. Helm Academy tackles like mainly the barriers of employment with different accessibility features. We provide like Egyptian Sign Language. Even when we operate in the region, we translate in different sign because we don't have a universal Arabic sign language. So we have different accessibility options, experts crafted modules that we produce dedicated for organizations looking to build an accessible workplace. And this digital ecosystem empowers persons with disabilities with essential workforce skills. And we have over 100 accessible modules designed for both persons with disabilities and companies as well. We've proudly so far, since its inception, we've trained around 8,000 trainees with a disability across all 25 governorates in Egypt. It was easier for us to reach that many people because, again, it's an e-learning platform. And we've also operated in Jordan, Lebanon, Saudi. We've created content with the cultural experience of different countries as well. I'm also happy to share like 40% of our graduates of different programs secure a job only like 6 months after the programs that we provide. And employers also use our platform to create like their own content. Like if they have an onboarding program for any employee, what if you hire an employee with a disability? How do you onboard them if it's an online program? So they use our platform to publish their courses or trainings as well. And we have a customer support team. They're all persons with disabilities that serve all our users as well. I'm running short on time and I want to show a video, but I just want to say that we've done that through different revenue streams, which allowed us to sustain and expand our impact. And from the different services, recruitment, training, consultancy for over 500 companies, including industry giants like Vodafone, P&G, Nestle. Most of the multinational companies work with us to strategic sponsorships that support our initiatives that are laying the foundation to a more inclusive future. Looking ahead, Helm has like a very ambitious vision. We plan to extend geographically across the Middle East and beyond, grow our course library as well to more than 500 modules in the next 2 years. And we will introduce also a subscription model so we can tap into not just like corporate partnerships, but also to individuals who are interested for our programs as well. And all these goals are, of course, connected to our overarching mission of breaking barriers for inclusion. I invite anyone here who's interested to tapping into the region or even around the world or wanting to explore putting their trainings on Helm Academy to talk to me after the panel. It'll be my pleasure. And I'll just leave the last minute to conclude with a video that highlights the impact of one of our programs that is called SEED. And I'll leave you with that video. Just a reminder, if you need the subtitles, but if you need the headphones for translation as well.
خلينا نبتدي برحلة رحلة في حياة كل شخص ذو إعاقة في مصر.
حلم ابتديناها من 13 سنة كفكرة عشان خاطر نخلي العالم متاح أكتر للأشخاص ذوي الإعاقة.
تجربتي مع حلم او التجربه دي في حياتي عموما غيرت مفاهيم كتير عندي. اولها البني ادم ما يبطلش انه يحاول ويسعى ويعافر.
اول ما جويند فودافون كان من عن طريق حلم، كنا اول 2 على ويل تشير نشتغل فعلي في فودافون، احنا نجحنا.
بروسس أمن فكرة حلم في تطوير أفكار خاصة بالأشخاص ذوي الإعاقة، وبدأنا معهم الطريق.
كل واحد فيكم النهارده سفير لقضيتنا.
مجتمع له دور كمان يتعلم ازاي يهيئ المكان والظروف للشخص اللي عنده إعاقة.
أنا موجود. أنا من خلقني الله مختلفا ولست متخلفا، مشاركا حقيقيا، ولا أركض خلف الركب، ولن أكون مستبعدا، لأنني إنسان ولأنني مواطن.
برنامج سيد زي اي برنامج تدريبي حلم بتعمله، هو في الاساس مش بس هدفه ان هو Thank you.
I'm sure you'll all agree they are all fantastic organizations helping bridge that gap between people with disabilities who don't have employment and those companies that are seeking to make the change and make themselves more inclusive. Now, I did say that there would be time for you to all ask questions, but I wanted to make sure that each of the panels had time to talk, so we only have a few minutes left, so if you do have those questions, do come and talk to the panel. And I'm just going to finish with one important question, I think, that I'd like to ask the panel, which is, and it's a very big question, if you had a magic wand and you could change one thing in this sector, what would that be?
I will wish a lot of money, not to be rich, but to can deal with all the tasks we have and to be independent from fundraising, because we have to do a lot of fundraising in our field. In my job, it's nearly 100,000 euros per year, and if I have a wish, I would wish money for us, because we know how to deal with the task, we know how we can bring the people in the labor market, but we need the money to do that. This is my wish.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course the financial wish is everyone's wish, but I would just add, especially in Egypt, I have a lot of wishes, but I think just to summarize is, if we have a Harvard grad who applies to a job, most probably they're still not going to get it, for many reasons, because our streets are not accessible, our public transport is not accessible, and that's why Helm had to expand to those other aspects to ensure that someone lands a job. There's so much more than job matching in Egypt. So I would say it's just like the whole ecosystem to change, at least change the mindset, and then everything else can follow.
I think I'll just take up from where Ramez left. I think India requires seriously a mindset change, determination to see that persons with disability are equal, if not the same capability that they have and same productivity that they bring to the table. We are programmed to come back to our own selves, and we keep forgetting this, so it's a very systemic change that we require, which actually treats persons with disability on the same level, on the same merit, for whether it is a job or inclusive lifestyle, or like Lee mentioned, as a consumer. Thank you so much.
Well, as they said, I will wish that everybody was seen equal in their potentials, in their capacities, in their abilities. Everybody has a place in the world and something to give. So if we all change our mindset, it will be so much easier for everybody to belong and have a space.
Thank you. I think what has come out of today is we have done a bit of a whistle-stop tour across the globe, and you are seeing organizations really trying to battle through the same issues, the same problems. It doesn't matter what country you're in, it doesn't matter you know, where we are in the world, the difficulties of breaking down the barriers to employment are the same. The challenges that each of us encounter are the same. And this is all about everything that these people up here and we are all advocating for, is everybody having the opportunity for employment that wants it. It's about removing barriers and making that opportunity available to everybody. There is no positive discrimination involved. There is no ulterior motive other than everybody has the right to employment. Everybody has the right to be self-sufficient and earn their own money. It builds their self-esteem. We saw some fantastic stories on those slides and through those videos of absolute success and the joy that it brings those individuals. And I'm sure everybody in this room has that own story of success of somebody they know. We all have them. My son, couldn't be prouder of him most days. There are other days, but I'm so proud of him. But breaking down those barriers, and they've not changed. When I started in the workplace, those barriers existed. I hid, I had to mask who I was for many years to get to the level that I've got to. But now I work for fantastic organizations that are removing those barriers. And we're all here today doing the same thing. Fighting the good fight to remove barriers to make what is just a simple human right to be able to work and be self-sustaining. So I'd like you to please all thank the panel. It is quite daunting to sit up in front of a group of people, particularly if it's not your first language, and talk. So to all of the panel, thank you. I really appreciate it. And to all of you, thank you for attending, and if you've got questions, please do come and stop the panel or come and talk to us. We do need to set up for the next session, but we are all available to chat. Thank you.